sociopaths or psychopaths from there. You could do a bit stuff.
Just pull this back a bit. Alright.
Especially with the Murphy mask.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Peter O'Byrne.
Yeah, that'll do me.
A Tory who thinks the Telegraph's gone wild. I mean, that tells you something.
Actually, it shows you where politics is in the UK, actually. It's really kind of fluky. I mean, you look at the website, it's all over the place, mate. It's all over the place.
No, I know it is, but the fact is, though, you know, it's suggesting that the Telegraph is doing much that it's... I mean, as far as I'm concerned...
Finished with that?
The Telegraph have always produced biased reporting. You know, have they ever criticised the establishment? Have they?
I've always considered Telegraph...
You don't have to press that red button,
a
no?
very good example
It's a square now.
of the type of paper it has. That has excellent foreign reporting. Like it says, but I distrust everything it says.
Well, why is it excellent
domestically.
foreign report? I won't fucking trust what that says.
Oh no!
5, 4,
Say
3...
the Financial Times.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to another filmed version of First Minister's Question Review, although you're probably just listening to the audio version, but we're back doing both. In preparation for some work we might be doing in support of a local SNP candidate for Westminster. Not a secret.
Yes, it is.
Okay, well, I'll edit it out.
It was a secret.
Not now.
No, it's not.
Well, it can easily come out. Welcome.
Not that we're biased in any way whatsoever.
No,
Not
it's
at
Can,
all.
can I be secretly supporting someone?
Yes, if you like.
A
Just don't.
person that votes against the war? A person that votes against
No,
the
you
war?
can't. No,
Oh,
you
well,
can't.
But
No,
won't
you
mention
can't.
names because
You're in the minority here.
we know who it is.
You're in the minority here.
Well, he's very, very lucky, is because otherwise he'd be in a bloody minority, wouldn't he, as well?
Okay, Alex Grant,
So it wasn't a minority.
Norrie Stewart, myself Stuart Lockhead, and of course the very voluble
The Labour supporting Phil.
Average.
Me?
Yeah, an honest Labour politician is in a definite minority, alright?
I couldn't disagree with that at the moment.
Okay, well, so we watched First Minister's Questions again, and one comment I've got to make: the BBC broadcast of it cut it very short. I forget how much.
For something very important.
2.5 questions short.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
about 5 minutes short than
Just
half
to
hour.
go and watch a movie.
Some half-witted, antiquated American movie as well.
Exactly.
We're not even going to watch something Scottish or
And it's
even British.
So-called public service broadcaster. We're just filled. They rushed off to watch some padding because Westminster's on holiday.
Exactly.
However,
Oh, I thought they were on holiday.
apart from that, we didn't get an NHS question this week. I wonder why.
Because they were scared stuff after the last question I asked. Because
Who's gonna enlighten the audience on
Well,
why?
effectively, what happened was Jim Murphy made a YouTube podcast and tweeted that the Scottish NHS had 4 times as many operations cancelled as England. Unfortunately for Jim,
he was lying again.
well, basically what he did was he added up everything and blamed the NHS, not
Yeah.
people dying,
Yeah.
not people not following their instructions,
Not
like
fasting.
Yeah.
etc., etc. So it was stuff and nonsense. And strangely enough, mainstream media picked it up. It was picked up quite quickly on Twitter and social media. And then the mainstream media put it up. Now there's a big hoo-ha in the Herald about it,
Yeah.
and
Is there? I've got the National too as
the
well.
front page of the
Murphy
National.
rubs out his past.
Yeah, I've got that. Tweet
So-
has been going along. Delete
Well,
what
but the
lines.
thing about it is, this isn't just a one-off.
No.
I mean, Jackie Bailey
They do it
on the
all the time.
National Health was forever quoting inaccurate figures. I mean, the classic was when she quoted the figures for Labour's time in office, basically as the figures that were pertinent to the day.
Yeah.
Never apologised. Jenny Mara went on Good Morning Scotland, refused to apologise, kept saying it was a mistake, it was a mistake, it was a mistake, but didn't apologise for making a mistake.
Are they doing that all over the UK? That's not just like here, they're in Scotland. If you see the way they're getting themselves into huge mixes in England, because you had that playwright Geordie guy, what was his name? Oh God, Alan Milburn. Because this year, him and his wife, because he was making tens of thousands of a year as a consultant when he was the Secretary of State, apparently for health. And he's made over 600,000.
When he was the Secretary of State.
Yeah,
Just
after, yeah, because they all went straight into consultancies, the same with Blunkett, they were all getting consultancies, but he got the most, and he now has a company which advises American health companies and everything, because this is why he's terrified now that they're actually not going to go down the privatisation route, which is started by Labour. You never got the Tories, but I mean, sorry, it was Tony Blair that started all these things.
Yeah, but Phil, there's an important difference between Scotland and England, amongst many other things.
Yeah, you have your own for the moment.
Now, in England, when the Labour Party tell lies, somebody is quite keen to tell the population that they're telling lies. In Scotland, you've only got 2 newspapers who will do that. The rest of the media ignore it completely. So Murphy can get away with things in Scotland that they can't get away with in England.
No,
I
because
have to agree. Alex, right.
yeah, because Labour's the establishment party up here. Labour are the Tories of Scotland.
Well,
Yeah.
there was a piece in the Herald as well criticising them, the normal Herald as opposed to the Sunday Herald.
It's unusual, that.
Criticising them. Well,
Yeah,
yeah,
'cause
but
it's a union
the
paper.
thing about it is that, well, as I think somebody said earlier, the quotes from Jenny Mara that would have been sound bites for anybody else who wasn't Labour did not appear after her live appearance on Good Morning Scotland.
No.
There was no mention through the rest of the day. So unless you were up at 7:30 or whenever I was
earlier.
listening to
It was
it,
earlier, quarter
it
past.
didn't happen. So there is still editorial choices being made about what gets priority
Yeah,
on the
but
BBC.
but Phil's right though, and that is the analysis that, in my opinion, I wish some of the media would pick up on. The fact is, the BBC love to defend themselves on the basis that they get criticised by both of the major parties. In actual fact, the BBC represents the Tories in England and Labour in Scotland. That's who they defend.
Yeah, but they still have their what would you call the special services from Scotland down there working for the BBC, the Scottish Spetsnaz working in the BBC, Kirsty Walk, people like that. They're all arch Labourites.
Yeah, I know, but they don't
And
sell
they're
a Newsnight support.
Oh, Andrew Neil, an arch Labourite, I don't think
No,
so.
I said Kirsty Walk.
Kirsty
I
Walk.
tell you, I was well impressed with Andrew Neil
Andrew Neil's a Tory.
last week because he ripped in to everybody. Nobody got in.
Oh, he's good when he gets to go. He's very good.
There was
when he gets to
I mean,
go.
it wasn't the referendum
No.
stuff. He ripped into everybody. He basically, you would see one Labour guy sitting here watching the Tory getting his entrails skewered, and then he would, basically ask Labour questions of the Tory, and then it turns out the Labour guy who was sitting there quite comfortable, big smile on his face, and rip him another arsehole as well.
And he gave the Green Party doing the fortnight
God, he
ago as
did
well.
that.
But seriously, about 2 papers. Once you get out of the Central Belt, the Courier has quite a bit up there. The Courier has quite a stance, and they've done a few.
Actually quite even-handed.
They've actually done a few good stories.
No,
The Sunday Post people.
No, not the
They
Sunday
done-
Post.
The Dundee Press.
It's the same company. DC Thompson, isn't it? The Courier and the
Yeah.
Sunday Post.
I've been disappointed in the Press and Journal. Press and Journal used to be a good paper. I don't really know what's going on. They obviously don't like the SNP.
Well,
Anyway.
can I point out that
We're supposed to be discussing FAQ.
It's digressing.
yes, we're digressing a bit, and that Kezia Dugdale went with nursery places and child care. Now, what I found interesting was that was actually a UK national issue, but that also had impact in Scotland.
She said Scotland was worse than England.
That's what she said, but the point is
Well, that
she's
was
following
her
the
original question.
London line in making that the issue.
You won't get any
Because there's an issue down south on Monday, Tuesday this week.
Was it?
If you don't follow the London,
Yeah.
Well, I do. but I
All
don't
these
have
nursery
any.
places in London, the only place you'll get them is in a really fretful dream.
well, yesterday they were talking about the price of childcare has quadrupled since 2010
I heard that.
Dearest,
in England,
we have the dearest.
Quadrupled.
or maybe it was up 40%.
Oh no, it'll cost you.
Hey, what's your name? How dare you?
I'm doing a
Amara.
caveat.
Wait a minute.
It'll cost you.
Show me your Labour Party membership.
Yes, okay, all right.
It'll cost you at least £1,000 a month to send your kid to a nursery in London. At least £1,000. I mind when my daughter was born here, before you had much in the way of provision in nursery, we sent her to that went up George IV Bridge, it was an alien Pentecostal, and that cost half, and that's coming up 40 years ago, and that cost nearly half my wife's wages in those days.
Yeah, but Norrie's right. There was a lot of comment on the radio when they were reviewing that because I had some people come on and say, well, fortunately, when my kids were that age, I could afford it. It's significantly more. I don't know whether the magnitude is as big as Norrie said. But it's significantly more expensive.
No, 20 years ago, I was paying £80 a week, I think, but that was for a long day because I was
was
working
all day,
full time, and that was dropping her off at say 8:30 in the morning and picking her up at 5:30 at night.
Yeah, we paid
Under
that
school
would,
age.
yeah, that would have been about right, which would have come in at about 25% of my wages.
But going back to that whole bit that Kezia was going on about the hours, you know, when somebody says 400 and somebody says 600, then somebody's lying. Why do they persist in doing that?
What Kezia Dugdale was trying to purport was that the 600 is you've only just got to it after 7 years criticism, and B, whatever you're delivering less in England. That was her thesis. All the FM did was say, look, when we took over it was 400, we put it up to 600, and 98% of people are getting it. You're talking cobblers, cheerio. I don't actually think she scored any points, to be quite frank.
But my point was really that basically you've got the standard Labour Party in Scotland following the London line, and when when Ruth Davidson came on, she's asking about basically free schools, you know, there were trust schools, which aren't allowed in Scotland.
Wait a minute. Well,
which again is a standard Tory thing.
I'm presuming the Labour line in England is some sort of criticism of the provision.
Of the schools?
What provision?
They started them.
Of nursery schools.
Oh.
Nursery school places, yes.
Yeah.
Well, what's the criticism down south?
There isn't enough. There isn't enough, and or it's too expensive.
But they put the Labour Party in England, because I didn't get this. I did hear stuff on the radio about the subject, but the Labour Party in England actually saying they're going to put in their manifesto a significant increase in the investment to make it cheaper. Blah de blah. Is that what they're saying?
Well, basically they're saying it was just too expensive.
Well, fine. What are they going to do about it? I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Well, what the
Exactly.
What the Liberals have done is basically said it doesn't matter who you are, you can be a nursery school teacher. That's the difference in Scotland. They want trained staff.
They want qualification. That was always the argument with Willie Wren, wasn't it? Yeah.
So.
But it's all a bit predictable in a
it
sense.
should be kind of cheaper. But I mean.
Sorry, in Europe it's cheaper. They have no problems. In Germany you pay nothing. You do. Yeah, because they all go out to work. All the women go out to work and they all pay huge amounts of fucking tax and then come back into work. And then it pays it, which is exactly what this government here was looking at. But they go, no, it's just depressing.
Well, I mean, they couldn't go, for reasons already explained, they couldn't go on the NHS. Education, I don't know. And I'm not, what's this Tory thing about? I take it they're asking for the law to be changed so they can have private schools.
Well, they would, wouldn't they?
It's a standard Tory ideology, it's not just policy.
So effectively they want to introduce, what do they call those schools in England?
Trusts.
They want to do
free schools.
What?
They want to introduce free schools. No, look,
they want to introduce
there's only two. There are two key three subjects that always get talked about: the NHS, education, and the polis. They couldn't talk about NHS for obvious reasons, so they talked about education and the polis. Both sides did, because Ian Gray came back with an education question. You're screwing up the advanced hires because you're not listening to the unions, and you're screwing up WENS because you're not giving them enough, nursery places, wherever it is at the start end. So it was all very predictable stuff. And to be honest, the Tories were just trying to come up with a line for one of the more wealthy constituencies on the west side of Glasgow, namely Mulgai. And Nicola came back with a very good line. Well, actually, the Labour Council are trying to close the school. And the local parents are saying, well,
the Tories are in there as well.
Tory. Well, wait a minute, well, it's not total Tory. They must be.
But he said there are Tories in the administration.
Who are they in coalition with?
I'd imagine they're Lib Dems.
Well, it can't be the SNP.
And it can't be the Labour Party.
Probably the Lib Dems.
But she would have taken the opportunity.
They're strong. They've got Joe Simpson as their MP.
I would
so,
say,
by Sherlock Holmes' method of deduction, we're going to presume it's the word Dems then.
Oh. Usual scum.
But anyway, I think the most exciting thing, well, the best part of the FNQs was when Nicola pointed out, well, because Kedia raised the question of Glasgow parents not being able to get nursery provision. So Nicola stuck it to her, saying, well, who runs Glasgow City Council? I wonder why she is not asking about NHS this week in the same breath.
Yeah.
So she really did stick it to...
And she says at least 6 times the Labour Tory view on this to try
Labour Tory austerity plans.
Yeah, which is great, which is a really good line as far as I'm concerned. Very powerful.
But I find
There's no
watching
difference.
her dealing with them compared to Salmon, because Salmon always had that ho-ho-ho-y bit, you know.
Well, she manages to do the non-smug bit.
Yeah.
The thing I was most impressed with her today about her was the fact that she talked in detail with very, 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 very few references to her notes, which was a complete contrast to Dugdale. I mean, Dugdale was better, in my opinion, today than she was last week. I think she's getting a wee bit more confident, but Nicola, I mean, talk about understanding a brief in detail.
Well, she's a solicitor, so it's part and parcel of her training anyway. I mean,
I know
yeah.
some stupid solicitors.
Oh, I do. But I know lots of solicitors that sit there and they'll talk for hours and hours.
I know.
And know how many
We
notes.
managed to get a question from Green member Alison Johnston,
About the Parliament.
which is a local issue. It's quite strange. I mean, if you're involved, if you want to maintain the historical common good fund of, you know, the local councils right across Scotland, where the land belongs to the people and was donated, things like Portobello Park,
Nice theory, eh?
and how on earth did they manage to lose title
Well,
to Parliament House
It
to the
was-
Faculty of Advocates?
I'm going to presume it was negotiated.
It was
between-
negotiated, and the way they were saying it, through the council, not the members. You don't, when you do things important, you don't go near the members, you use the
You mean the
officers.
councillors?
You don't go near the councillors. I mean, that's the combat. Yeah, that's right. They're all important, but it's all those up. It's 150, 200.
But it's an ongoing issue, the question
It's
of
an
opposite-
of
wait,
chipping
wait,
away
it's
at
an
common
opposite
good
thing.
fund.
No, wait a minute. My understanding is that it went council to the government
Yeah.
to the Faculty of Advocates. So the Faculty of Advocates,
Have taken over.
who I presume rented it off the council.
Well, actually, if you think about
Now
it, that's the
taken
most
on
obvious
respons-
bloody place for it to go to,
No,
isn't
it's
it?
not. If I own the council, I own it. How come the Faculty of Advocates now own it? I don't get that, if that's right.
Well,
My understanding is the council fucked up by letting it go to the government, and the government, it would appear, if that statement is correct, basically let the property now become owned by the Faculty of Advocates.
Well, the issue is this constant chipping away at the common good funds
I know,
right
which
across the
Andy
country,
Whiteman goes on about.
which is a
how-
big
Well,
thing
wait
for
a
Andy
minute.
Whiteman.
Is it
Portobello Park for Portobello School.
but is that the issue if it was a drain on resources?
Well, nobody
Could be
said
mentioned
that.
that.
It might be.
Well, what other reason, if there was a profit in it, what other reason would the council have to give it up?
Well, it suggested this week online that the council fucked up because they didn't think they owned it.
No, yeah, I quite believe that. Yeah.
No, seriously, that's what I read. That it was purported that the council didn't think they owned it, so by some legal default it went to the government, when in actual fact, properly examined, the council did have title to it and didn't have to give it up, but now they have given it up.
Right, well,
And
if the
the vast
council,
majority of councillors wouldn't have even known they owned it.
well,
That's
if the
common
council knew they owned it, did the Faculty of Advocates get it for nothing?
I have no idea.
No idea.
I'm not, and that wasn't articulated very clearly in that question. I think all the Green Party were saying was, hang on, I thought we owned this, and we've ended up not owning it. What's the explanation? And I don't think we got a very good answer.
Yeah,
to
And,
that.
but-
and where's the money?
But the government's been playing, because they're also if you know, Register House at the East End.
Yeah, what about that?
Oh,
Who
we're
was that?
talking about
Turning it into a boutique hotel.
everything in there, right? This is one of the most iconic buildings in Edinburgh.
Yeah, I
It
know.
has everything. Oh, they want to shove it into a new build out in Sighthill.
Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
But cheaper than run.
And yeah, it would make a lovely hotel,
well,
wouldn't it?
they'll make prime property at the end of Princess Street. What they'll be doing is, because they're in the shit, let's be frank. This is what happens. You start selling off the family silver. That's all it is. They're selling off the family silver, and they take what's in there and shove it in a cheap building out in the suburbs.
But what
End
they're
of.
doing as well, if you go
On
up,
the site hills.
you've got that James Craig Walk.
Yeah.
Now that's
What's
the
that big building at the back of that?
What?
This. No, there's
No.
a big building behind
Big
Register
Georgian
House.
building.
No, the modern
new
building.
building, the
That's
60s.
completely
Oh, that was-
covered in.
That was alive with asbestos. That was the Scottish office.
Oh, I mean,
Oh,
it's
St.
been
James-
like that.
St.
St.
James-
James, St.
part
James,
of the
that's
St.
coming
James
down.
Centre.
That is coming down.
Oh, it's all coming down. Yes, it's alive
So
with
it should
asbestos. that's
move
what-
out of Edinburgh while they're doing it because there's so much asbestos.
No, well, if
in
you
it.
have a look, there's that huge Georgian tenement opposite, and that's one of the original because that was
My
1760 was where the new town started,
St James Place.
St James Place,
Yeah.
and they want to knock that down.
What?
Yeah.
My family used to do that.
Well, have a look what they've done in St Andrew's Square. They were all listed buildings.
Yeah,
It doesn't
well,
matter whether they were 1930s.
Well, they're not. They've just knocked down a Grade 2 listed building or B grade listed building in St Andrew's Square because I saw them doing it. Because when they took that facade off, that piece of crap that was there on the south side of the square, I thought, oh, there's a nice facade there behind that, and they demolished it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no pub. No, the
It's
south
actually
side of the square.
South St David Street.
Aye, I know it is.
Well, and gentlemen, we are digressing again.
Well, we aren't digressing. We're talking about how there's people that are destroying our city.
It is
Exactly.
true. It's
Swines
true.
that they are.
It's highly important.
Yes, it's highly important,
I
but
blame
it's
the
not
Tories
first minister's
'cause they've got
questions.
the money to do it.
I'm quite happy to have another,
Yes, but unfortunately, these
but
people get
more
their
than,
first question.
more than happy to do 5 minutes on just what's happening in Edinburgh.
Tories ain't in charge.
Can we just try scoring these people? Phil, your favourite Labour leader, Kezia Dugdale.
Her presentation is definitely getting better. It's just it's all pish that comes out. So 5.
Okay. Ruth Davidson.
I'll give her a 5 as well.
Willie Rennie even popped up with his usual police story.
Jack.
Half an ounce of lead. Just for something different. And 8. And
8?
no, for
Nicola.
Nicola.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Willie Rennie.
Really? Nout.
No.
He just doesn't get anything. What is the point of him? And I'll give 5 to the.
Presiding
Yeah,
officer.
that's 3 5s and an 8 and a nout. That sounds about right.
Oh, dear. Alex, what do you think?
Same as him, except Willie Rennie. I give Willie Rennie 2. The subject is still relevant, badly delivered.
8555. Nori.
I'll give Willie 4. I'll give Ruth 4. Kezzy 4. And I'm going to give Nicola 9
No.
because every single question she was asked, she got the boots in.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
single one.
That's a fair comment. I changed mine to 9. I agree with that.
No, I went to 8 on the hope that she gets even worse.
Well,
Better.
and the point I would make was
Better.
she's got the timing right. She leaves it till she gets the last word,
Yeah.
and she uses it to put the boot in. Very professional. I mean, the point was made while we were watching it that she's better than Alex Salmond, and
Oh.
I think she is better than Alex Salmond.
Yeah, it's not how Alex really has almost disappeared
Yeah.
from the press. Right.
That's good.
Also, I think there's probably a collective sigh of relief from a lot of people as well, whether or not he did do that. There is a collective sigh
Well,
of
he's
relief.
always, I always regarded him as Marmite. It was too easy
You
to.
either loved him.
I don't know about sign of relief. I don't agree with that.
Oh, no.
He will come with the 4 if he gets
Yeah.
elected.
In Westminster,
That's what will
brilliant.
happen.
Yes, I probably.
And he will be the best performer in Westminster.
Once he gets back
He's
down,
better suited to.
Yes.
He's
and once he
absolutely-
gets based down there, he can appear in all these quiz shows again.
And he's also excellent. The simple fact that he hasn't tried to come back into the sphere is they're working very well as a team. They do work very well as a team, and it really shows up. And the other parties.
Nicola's only
really shows up.
question time tonight, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is.
Oh, I yeah.
Question time on
Yeah.
TV tonight. Very good. Nicholas scored 34. Kezia got 20, just outstripping Ruth on 19. Willie Rennie managed to stack up 9.
Thank God he didn't get 2 figures. He would be
And,
unbearable.
Well, just looks like poor old presiding officer wasn't noticed today because he got 20. And I think let's cut it short today. We might actually do another 5 minutes on other issues if you want to really swear.
You can.
All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Stop these recordings. And start again.
I'd be interested
Keep talking.
who else is on question time with Nicola, because that's fairly important.
I know who's on.
Alexander's not on it.